The eggs are in the news. I don't know if you guys have been following. It's like the most important thing, I think, in the news. More important than President Trump. More important than all the wars. It's what's going on with the eggs. And I think they're actually trying to tell us something. There's some sort of symbolic gesture happening since the new year started with eggs. They've just dominated the headlines. So I thought I was alone in neurotically tracking the egg stories. But my friend Raven from Nephilim Death Squad has also, maybe even more so, tracking the egg headlines.
It's an exception.
Nice.
No, I can't even. I just killed it.
Exceptional. Yeah.
Obsession.
Exception. Inception. Exception. It's been wild. It hasn't stopped. Like, so we have this egg shortage, and then in Pennsylvania there was a egg heist. 100,000 eggs taken, $40,000 worth of eggs.
Well, and remember, we couldn't get our own eggs from the farm here because our eggs were all stressed out or something.
That's right.
They were all stressed.
That's right. I wrote a story about this last week, and people were telling me that their chicken coops are experiencing issues.
Interesting.
Not because of bird flu, but because of that. They're like, they're not laying eggs. Like, they're dropping something out of the sky. So maybe we can bring Raven on to enlighten ourselves as to what is going on. Raven, hello.
What's going on, guys? Thank you for having me. I'm very excited, and this is a challenging topic to unpack. I hope the conversation goes over easy.
I hope we can crack. I hope we can crack open this mystery.
It's an enigma shrouded in mystery, and like you, I have been tenaciously chasing this egg thing. I can't say that I was tenacious from the gate, right? It starts off as like a slow noticing.
Yeah.
Kind of like a bird flu thing.
That's right.
There's an egg shortage. Like, okay. And like 100,000 eggs go missing. $40,000 worth of eggs are stolen. And there's all these different egg situations going on. And it becomes this little thread that you pull on, and it yields, it's like an Easter egg hunt. It yields one exciting revelation after another. So I agree with you, Shane. This is much more important than Donald Trump going to the Super Bowl, being the first sitting president at a Super Bowl, although it does connect. It's more exciting than the administration shift, than anything. Kanye West tweets. The most gripping thing on the world stage right now is the egg.
That's right.
And I'm very excited to be here talking with another expert.
That's right. God bless you.
That was a good one. That was off the rip.
You're just obsessed with
the other
eggs
ones are
for the
premeditated.
puns.
This one was fired from the hip.
I love it. Well, yeah, I agree. So where do we start? Do we start with where the eggs start with the Orphic egg? Is that a good?
What came first, the chicken or the
Like,
egg?
what do you think? You've been writing about this. Do we start with the Orphic egg and how that fits into this, or was there a story that stuck out to you first in terms of disclosure stuff?
Well, so I would say the real moment that cracked this case open for me was the revelation of the Orphic egg. Learning about the Orphic egg kind of became this conjoining tissue for all of this weird egg noticing, but there was a long build up to it. And I think a lot of us have seen these things, right? You kind of remember back during the lockdowns, we were getting a little bit primed with fear about some sort of ensuing bird flu, an egg shortage. In fact, I remember that the shelves were empty of eggs for a period of time in my local supermarkets. And it created kind of an uncertainty around those things. I don't know what it is. Eggs, very much like toilet paper. When people start going for those things, it's indicative of a panic, right? Like a widespread panic. And it makes you feel like, should I be collecting eggs? And that was about two years ago. And everything kind of died down since then. And then it picked up in a really big way. So I know we're talking about this idea of the Orphic egg, but there are what I've been calling egg comms, like egg communications. Sometimes there are mysterious things that unfold on the world stage. They appear benign to us, but if you're a conspiracy theorist like I am, you begin to suspect that they're shady coded forms of communication between elites, right? And so one of those things was Paris Hilton receiving an egg, the Enron egg from the CEO of Enron.
That's right.
And that on its face doesn't seem like much, but it's still the theater of it. She's coming out. She's receiving this egg. It's, it's the size of a dwarf. It's a big egg. It's not a small egg by any means, much bigger than an ostrich egg. And, well, that seems benign and inconsequential. But then some time goes by. Harry Sisson makes a tweet. Trump has been president for 3 days and egg prices are at all-time highs. And he's trying to neg Trump's America, but that's not the point. The point becomes when Elon Musk retweets it, or rather, I guess I should caveat this, when Elon Musk's parody account, who I am convinced is also Elon Musk,
very possible,
retweets this.
Yep.
Because I do think it's him. Yep. Then I find a tweet Scott Adams posts, and it's about an egg truck crashing, causing delays on the 5 freeway through East Los Angeles. Right? So an entire 18-wheeler full of eggs falls over, spills eggs all over the road. And then a breaking report, Waffle House has announced a surcharge of 50 cents per egg. Everything is about this sort of encroaching, looming economic crisis, and eggs for some reason seem to be the representative of it, which is a strange choice. And then we have the real big one. In Pennsylvania, state police are searching for a suspect after 100,000 eggs were stolen from an egg distributor trailer.
That's right.
And I think the sum of that thievery is like $40,000, which on its face feels bizarre. I don't know who steals 100,000 eggs from a distributor and thinks for a moment they're going to get away with it. In fact, sometimes when these strange things happen, I'm almost inclined to believe they just didn't. But to go back to my original thesis, they are a sort of communications between elites, whoever has a vested interest in eggs. And so I now decide that it's time to look at this. And I feel like, Shane, you've also decided that this is no longer coincidence.
Yep.
And that something is happening here, and the egg is the symbol of choice for this particular event.
So totally agreed. I want to go back real quick to something you said earlier. I don't know if you know this or not. I didn't know it till recently. That's a fake Enron. Did you know that?
A fake Enron? No, I didn't know that.
So for those who are listening who don't know what we're talking about, Enron, I'm putting in quotes for those listening, announced a nuclear reactor egg for your home, right? That's what you're referencing?
Yes.
And there's a whole like a press conference where they unveil the egg and how beautiful it is and it's safe because it's got like low amounts of uranium or something. Turns out that's a parody done by the same guy who co-authored Birds Aren't Real. So
wait, by the same guy who did what?
He co-authored the book Birds Aren't Real.
Oh.
So that's not to take away from this whole story going on. It just, for me, makes it even weirder.
Yes, I think it makes it more interesting.
Yeah, I love it. So that's interesting. And yeah, I think the egg it's very symbolic. It does symbolize fertility, a new start, rebirth. So unlike the toilet paper craze of lockdowns where the shelves are empty, that was more of a symbol, like a symbolism. It symbolized how insane we are. But the egg shortage seems to symbolize something deeper, like in the DNA of the narrative that we're stuck in. And the way you put it with the comms talking, that's a good way of putting it. It's like, is it like a form of predictive programming where it's all kind of leading up to something? Or, and I don't believe this, but I'm going to put it out there anyway, is it where, I think it's called Bieder-Meinhof phenomenon, where it's like when you buy a car and you only see that car after.
Yes, yeah. It's almost like a confirmation bias or something, like a cousin of it, right? Where it's like you now see this thing everywhere. Look, I mean, I would accept that because I am, it's my nature to maybe, let's say, connect dots that don't even connect. And sometimes you connect things that are significant, but in that process, you make a lot of kind of bad calls, right?
100%.
And so I'm perfectly open to the idea that I am driving a red Kia and now seeing nothing but a red Kia because of that.
Right.
But there is an event that takes place that completely blows that theory out of the water, in my opinion. I'm no longer able to look at it as coincidence. And the reason I can't is because not long ago, there was an announcement from Dr. Stephen Greer. Now, Dr. Stephen Greer is sort of become this guy who is the mouthpiece for these UAP disclosure events. So I believe as soon as the new year kicked off, we had the second ever congressional UAP hearing. And through that, there's whatever revelations they are. And I'm pretty skeptical when it comes to, I don't know, like a government sponsored UFO disclosure. I don't believe whatever it is they're disseminating, but I'll look at it. It's entertaining and I'll consider it and push back against it in whatever way that I can, see how it incorporates with the information that I have, etc. So not long ago, Dr. Stephen Greer comes out and says, today, something rather significant is going to happen in the UAP space. And I'm very skeptical of Dr. Stephen Greer, but I imagine that he wouldn't stake his reputation on saying something was going to happen on the world stage if it wasn't going to happen. So with that said, I started to pay attention. What ends up unfolding later on that day is a very strange saga and one that has been dismissed by a lot of people outright because on its face, it's kind of comical. And like many of the little breadcrumbs that they give us, it doesn't really lead anywhere. It's kind of a dead end. So this event is the revelation of a video. Now, this video is a aerial POV looking down at something being hoisted out of a landscape by a helicopter.
Yep.
And what is being hoisted out of this landscape is only describable as an egg. Now, it's difficult to discern because the footage isn't great. And I believe it might even be in sort of a green tone that you would use for like a night vision or something like that. And it's just kind of confusing. And it's not very eventful. All you're looking at is a point of view that is down a long rope. And you can discern that at the bottom of the rope, they are airlifting a sizable egg. And it becomes difficult to even determine how big this egg is because there's no scale. There's no point of reference around it.
Right.
And that's kind of where it dies.
We should show the audience what we're talking about.
We're going to show everybody that video. We're going to pull it up because this video is hilarious.
It's a weird video. It's a really weird video.
NewsNation has independently obtained previously unseen video.
He has an accent, so it must be real.
From
and it's
a secret UAP craft retrieval program. This extraordinary footage clearly shows an egg-shaped object dangling in a sling below the belly of a helicopter.
This is a joke.
Let's slow this down
yes,
take
Let's
a closer
please
look.
slow it down.
That's an egg-shaped UAP suspended from a 150-foot long line. We're told the craft is about 20 feet long. The egg suspended in a cradle. And look how careful the pilot is as they bring their precious cargo into land. Let's freeze frame here to look at one of the clearest images of a UAP.
Dude,
even the clearest images, right? He's like, let's slow it down to get a clearer image. It's like none of these images are clear.
You're not helping.
None of these at all.
The moon landing looks more real than that.
Yeah. So okay, now that's enough to pique my interest. I'm now convinced that to some degree these things that I'm perceiving as communications have to do with this event. I don't know what that yields as far as conclusions or anything like that. But now I know that there's something worth digging at here. So later on that day, something else happens in the new formed egg space. We now